On behalf of Governor Timothy N.J. Antoine, Executive Management and staff of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, it is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to this important trade finance workshop. The ECCB is pleased to collaborate with the OECS Commission, the International Finance Corporation, the World Trade Organization, and the CARICOM Development Fund in delivery of this trade finance workshop. Your presence here today reflects a shared commitment to strengthening the foundations of economic growth. As we know, SMEs contribute significantly to economic growth, not just within our borders, but across the region and beyond. The relationship between SME development and economic growth is extensively documented in the academic literature. This positive relationship is particularly documented in the context of developing and emerging countries in Africa and Asia, not so much in the Caribbean. Empirical analysis by Beck, for instance, demonstrate a general positive correlation between SME development and economic growth, even while we control for other determinants of economic growth. And more recently, in 2024, Mogano suggests that SME contribute to more inclusive growth by making diverse contributions to economic and social well-being, fostering innovation, generating employment, contributing to economic diversification, and building resilience. MSMEs typically work outside of the predominant paradigms, and this allows them to leverage emerging technologies and commercial opportunities that are often ignored by extant businesses within the market. In so doing, they become a major driving force to innovation in the economy. In preparing for this engagement, I noted the paucity of empirical research on SMEs and economic growth in the Caribbean and felt the need to address this issue as we aim to design and implement growth-enhancing policies. Notwithstanding this issue, I noted that there has been some studies of SMEs in the region. In particular, we have a CDB study in 2016 of micro, small, and medium enterprises featuring an employment-based typology of MSMEs with medium-sized enterprises defined as those employing more than 16 employees, small 6 to 15, and micro 1 to 5. Now, this typology is broadly in line with the informal definitions utilized within ECCU member countries and is also broadly aligned to the OECD definition, though the numbers are larger for the OECD. The CDP report suggests that micro, small, and medium enterprises account for more than 50% of the GDP in the region, and they represent more than 50% of total enterprises across the region. Despite the significant contribution of that sector, it is constrained by access to finance to support export expansion beyond the success of incubator initiatives in our region. High interest rates, high collateral requirements, lack of reliable credit information, and weak legal institutions all negatively affect access to credit by MSMEs. And in view of those issues, the ECCB has decided to take on a reform agenda to address some of those issues. So the ECCB, in partnership with the World Bank, launched the Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee in 2020 during the pandemic, with the main objective of leveraging loan guarantees to enhance access to credit for MSMEs in the region. And as of September 2025, the ECPCGC has approved 273 guarantees valued at $27.2 million, comparing favorably with the target of 250 approvals for the project and disbursement of $32.4 million. The Central Bank has also supported the establishment of the Credit Bureau to address deficiencies in the availability and quality of credit information. The Credit Bureau, Every Data, is now headquartered in Antigua, started operations in 2022, and is currently in production phase in Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada. We note that many MSMEs operate as sole traders, and therefore the Credit Bureau should help support enhanced access to credit. At the ECCB, we are now focused on the design and implementation of further reforms to improve access to credit in the ECCU, namely a secure transactions reform and an insolvency reform. The secure transactions reform aims to improve access to secured credit within the financial system through the efficient and economical creation of proprietary security rights while the debtors maintain use of the assets. Once the reform is concluded, MSMEs will be able to leverage their movable assets, such as equipment, to enhance access to credit. Insolvency frameworks within the ECCU generally require reform, as the legislative framework is aged in many member countries. The objective of that reform is to create modern, fair, predictable, and transparent frameworks that consider and balance the interest of both creditors and debtors. Consistent with the idea of the big push towards doubling the size of the ECCU economy, the objective of the insolvency reform is to create an environment where businesses that are economically viable can be restructured in situations where they are facing financial distress. This would therefore allow for continued contribution of these firms to the economy, preserving jobs and essential value chains. Where businesses are unviable, the reform process will allow for speedy and orderly liquidation processes, and these assets can be freed up to leverage in other areas of the economy to generate further value. We look forward to working with stakeholders to bring these reforms to completion to support further growth in the MSME sector. In view of the initiatives already in progress at the ECCB, this workshop is not merely a gathering. It is a platform for collaboration and knowledge exchange to catalyze further action. Over the next few days, we'll explore critical pillars that are shaping the future of trade finance. The insights, experiences, and solutions shared in this room have the potential to shape policy, inform practice, and drive real impact. Together, we can build a trade financial landscape that is more inclusive, more transparent, and more responsive to the needs of SMEs and our economies. Let me thank each of you for your commitment, your expertise, your partnership. I encourage you to engage fully, challenge ideas, and forge new connections. Welcome once again, and let's make this workshop a catalyst for meaningful progress. Thank you.